Hello, property nomads. Hope you're well. Very good news from the UK government as Rishi Sunak delays 2030 petrol and diesel car ban to ease the transition to electric vehicles. As you can see from the screen share, apologies for all the adverts on the GB News website. I don't always give government credit, but I will do in this situation purely because this makes sense. So in a nutshell, the sale of petrol and diesel cars will now be phased out in 2035. Now, I don't agree with that policy whatsoever. For reasons that we've gone through before on the podcast, on the YouTube channel, we're not being told the true cost of things, i.e. mining for the goods, mining for the materials that are needed to create electric vehicles, what happens with battery storage, what happens with battery recycling plants, all of these sorts of things. We're not being told the true story, and that's why I believe phasing out petrol and diesel cars in general is a bad thing, because the environmental cost of electric vehicles is probably, I would say, far more damaging to the environment than just getting a good old Ford Cortina secondhand from down the street. All of that being said, I will give the government credit here by realizing that what they're doing by ramming low carbon crap down our throats and all this eco warrior stuff down our throats is starting to lose the will of, it's starting to break the back of the British people. So actually by putting this back 5 years, it is understandable why they've done it. So yes, I don't agree overall with any of it, to be perfectly honest, the bigger picture thing, but I have to hold my hands up and give government credit here and say, yeah, okay, fine, fair enough. They've understood that if they keep going down this route, it's not good for the British people. We need to push it back a little bit. And then, yeah, of course, people are still going to complain about it, of course, but there's, they're doing what they can. It doesn't matter anyway, because they're not going to be charged by the end of 2024, but that's a different podcast. Basically said, so Sunak said that the U-turn, there'd be a new approach to the UK in response to climate change. Climate change, I use that in inverted commas. And I quote, if we continue down this path, we would lose the consent of the British people. That's why we have to do things differently. We're working hard to make the UK a world leader. I'm proud that we've already attracted billions of new investments from companies like Tata's Jaguar Land Rover, Gigafactory. And I expect by 2030, the vast majority of cars sold will be electric. Why? Because the costs are reducing, the range is improving, the charging infrastructure is growing, end quote. Yet technology will improve over time. Hopefully there will be a stage where everything is tickety-boo and works like clockwork. That'll be absolutely fine. But again, credit where credit's due. What they have recognized is that by doing what they're doing at the moment, the government, it's not going to work. So they're pushing it back a little bit. And this is one of the times where I hold my hands up and go, yep, I totally agree with you. That's a very, very good move. Whether we actually get there by 2035, I don't know, because again, the technological increase has got to be incredible in the next 5 to 10 years in order to make that work. We'll see what happens. Ultimately, I don't think Conservatives are going to be in charge next year anyway, so it doesn't really matter. If we flip to the second article related to the same thing, so as a result of the 2030 ban being put back to 2035, people are, well, basically saying that, hang on a minute, we were going to buy an electric vehicle, but we're just going to wait a little bit longer. And again, that's a fair comment to make. There's also going to be a lot of backlash from the motor vehicle industry. People saying you shouldn't be forced into an electric car. I agree with that stance, by the way. You should always have a choice. And although electric cars and the number of people driving them has gone up recently, by pushing this back to 5 years, by pushing target back 5 years, then that if people have taken, pardon the pun, people have taken their foot off the gas a little bit when it comes to wanting to buy a new car. Of course, all the eco warriors have thrown their toys out the pram. Oh, we're going to destroy the country. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Oh, woe is me. Let's all, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to get into that. You know my stance on that by now. No bueno is how I like to describe it. So yeah, give the government credit. Well done. You pushed it back 5 years. Whether that's going to make an iota of difference, I don't know. We will find out moving forwards. Once again, thanks for listening to Property Nomads. I do head over to iTunes, Spotify, other podcast platforms. Please subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a good review as well. That'd be nice because that helps to get the word of Property Nomads out to more people. Same on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, use the bell notification thing, and keep telling as many people as you can about Property Nomads. We're here to provide as much great content as possible, and the numbers, thanks to you sharing our content and telling people about Property Nomads, we're seeing a massive uptick in numbers. So thank you very much for your help and support. We'll see you in the next video.